Very good morning to all the students of class plus 1B beta. Today we are going to start the new chapter of your book Hornbill. So keep your pen and pencils ready with you in case you need to note down the meanings of very difficult words. And there are a lot of difficult words in this chapter. Very interesting chapter it is. And this chapter's name carries the theme in itself. As you can see, I have written it's a, you can say, very lengthy name. So that's what I'm saying. The name itself will be clarifying the theme of the chapter. We are not afraid to die if we can all be together. So just by reading the name, we can have a fair idea that we are not at all afraid to die if we all are together. It means if we are united, we are together, then we are not afraid to die. And this chapter, I think so, is quite apt in the recent times. Very tough times are going on. Many people are hospitalized, many are quarantined at home. But if your family is supporting you, rather than keeping you aside and ignoring you, you will be broken inside. But if your family is there with you, they are just encouraging you, motivating you, inculcating positive attitude in you by taking care of the member of the family. So that is the, you can say, most important thing in our lives. So this chapter is going to tell us how we are not at all afraid of difficult situations when we all are together, right? So united we stand, that is the motto. And theme, you can say, divided we fall. You might have heard this old adage that if we are together, nobody can, you can say, stop us on in achieving our goals. But if we are not united, if we are not together, anybody can come and break you, right? So before that, sharing screen with you and all, before that I would be just introducing the characters. Just send me thumbs up if my voice is audible to everyone. Quickly. Fine. Okay, beta. Because I have just kept the laptop aside to be near the board, that's why I'm asking again and again. Fine. So firstly, we have the characters. Now the background of the story. Background of the story is set in July 1976. Fine. And the characters. First of all, we have narrator. He's the protagonist of the chapter, the main character. You can use the word narrator either, or you can use the word author. Both are correct. Fine. Author or narrator, I would be using throughout the chapter. This is, in this chapter, narrator himself will be, discussing his personal experience with you all. He would be sharing his personal experience with all of us. So actually, narrator and his family, they are going to start a voyage. Fine. Voyage is a, you can say, long journey in the sea. So they're going to start. It is not a few days journey. It is not a few months journey. This journey will be carried on for years, right? So that's why it is called voyage. And the time is July 1976. So firstly, the main character is narrator. The next one is Mary. Mary is wife of narrator. I have written in the bracket, you can see. The third character is Suzanne. You will be using the word either Suzanne or Sue, S-U-E. This is the nickname or pet name of this girl. Fine, yeah, the way your parents call you with the nickname. So Sue is the name of this girl. She is 7-year-old. You can say light's reflection is there. You are not able to read it, I know, but I have just written the age over here. Fine, you can see. Now you can see. Fine, 7-year-old daughter. Fine. Then we have Jonathan. Fourth character is Jonathan. The nickname of this boy is John. Fine, you will be using the word John. I have written Jonathan or John. Anybody can use. And he is 6-year-old. Fine, you need to remember the age. Right. Then we have Larry and Herb. Now, who are Larry and Herb? They will be starting one voyage. I have written the facts over here, beta. Round the world journey started in July 1976. Fine, in July 1976, round the world journey started from Plymouth, England. So you need to remember these facts, very important, fine? From Plymouth, England, the journey started in the boat, huge, gigantic boat named Wave Walker. I have written the name on the boat. I have just, my drawing skills are not that good, but I have tried to just create one small image so that you can relate to it. So Wave Walker is the name of this boat. Fine, they started their journey in this boat only. Then they just, after completing one leg of the journey, leg here means one part of the journey. Let others also join in when we have already. Fine. So after completing one leg of the journey, or almost a year, this journey will, they decided that it will take up to 3 years. So you can very well imagine that a lot of things they need to pack up with them, the medical, the eatables, the many things, clothing, how they're going to, survive for long years. So after completing 1 year, they will be, moving to next site, because they will be using compass to see, they'll be using various gadgets to see the directions and waves. And so after 1 year, the two crewmen will be joining them. Fine. Now Larry Vigil and Herb Siegler. Nationality of these people are written here. Larry Vigil is an American. Fine. And Herb Siegler, he's a Swiss. Swiss means a native of Switzerland. Fine. Those who have joined now, Jodhpreet, Naman, please beta, reach well in time, join well in time. I have already introduced all the characters, the major characters of this story. We are not afraid to die if we all are together. So once again, I'm going to give the gist for these two students. Narrator is the protagonist, Mary, wife, Sue is 7-year-old daughter, John is 6-year-old son. Then we have Larry and Herb. Larry and Herb, Larry is American, Herb is a native of Switzerland, he's a Swiss. Both have good skills, fine or seafaring skills, you can say, which is required. And then they will be joining them after a year, and then they will continue the journey. Fine. Now this is done. The background is in July 1976, they're going to start their journey from Plymouth, England in a boat, Wave Walker. This was a quick review. Find any doubt to anyone, because if you don't understand any character, you won't be able to understand the chapter. Send me thumbs up quickly. If all the characters are clear to you, beta, send me thumbs up. If you have doubt, you can ask me right now. Fine. So this is bit a very inspirational story, I must say. In this story, author, actually why he started this journey, how that idea was formed. Actually, he has read about Captain James Cook. You can search about this personality on Google also. Captain James Cook was the one who has, completed this, you can say, voyage, and 200 years ago. They are talking in July 1976, but in July 1976, it was 200 years ago. So you can very well imagine the date. 200 years ago, Captain James Cook has made such a long voyage. So he was quite, impressed. Who was impressed? Author of the story, narrator of the story, was so impressed that, I should also look forward to such journey. He was having interest in such seafaring skills, and this journey does not start, let's do it. It's like you have to improve a lot of seafaring skills. You have to learn many, you can say, they just worked upon their boat, Wave Walker, what sort of things they tried this boat in roughest of weathers. Then they improved, if in case there is some danger, how to rescue operations. They just tried a number of times. It takes years of practice and learning, and this is a skill which need to be acquired. So after learning, then they started their journey. It's not like that, let's start the journey and let's do it. It's not a child's game. Fine, it's not everybody's cup of tea. Some students are facing problem in the network. Kindly keep your doors and windows open. Fine. Now let's see something quite interesting. you're supposed to, just a few minutes, I would be showing you a video. Let's see if I'm able to share it or not.
We're Not Afraid to Die, If We Could All Be Together, by Gordon Cook and Alan East. In July 1976, my wife Mary, son Jonathan, 6, daughter Suzanne, 7 and 9, set sail from Plymouth, England, to copy the round the world voyage, which was made 200 years before by Captain James Cook.
Voyage, a long journey involving travel by sea.
I was a 37 years old businessman for the past 16 years. I and Mary had spent all the leisure time honing our seafaring skills in British waters.
Honing seafaring skills means sharpening the sea traveling skills.
Our boat's name was Wave Walker. The 23-meter, 30-ton wooden boat had been professionally built. We had spent months fitting it out and testing it in the roughest weather we could find. The first leg of our 3-year, 105,000-kilometer journey past Pleasant. In this, we sailed from the west coast of Africa to Cape Town. Before heading east, we took up 2 crewmates, Larry and Siegel. Larry was an American, while Siegler was a Swiss. We took on those crewmates to tackle one of the roughest seas, the South Indian Ocean. On the second day at Cape Town, we began to encounter strong gales.
Gales, strong winds.
For the next few weeks, they continued. But gales don't worry me. But the size of waves was alarming. Almost 15 meters, as high as our main mast. Mast means a large coal of ship. On the 25th of December, we were 3,500 kilometers east of Cape Town. Despite bad weather, we had a wonderful holiday with a Christmas tree. On the new year, there was no improvement in weather. We thought that it will change soon. It changed, but worse than before. At dawn on the 2nd of January, the waves were gigantic.
We were sailing with only a small storm jib. Storm jib is a triangular sail, which is set forward the mast and is helpful for ships in bad weather.
As the ship rose up on the top of each wave, we could see endless waves rolling towards us, and the screaming of wind and spray was painful to ears. To slow the boat, we dropped the storm jib and lashed a heavy rope across the stern. Then we double lashed everything.
Lashed tied with a rope, stern back part of ship.
We checked our life raft drills, attached lifelines, put oilskins in life jackets, and waited.
Remember, to save themselves from waves on the 2nd of January, they tried to slow the boat by removing the storm jib and lashing a rope at stern. Then, they lasher everything, checked life raft drill, put oilskins and life jackets, and waited.
So you see, how many of you enjoyed this short clip? Just send me thumbs up if you're able to understand some part of it. If not the complete. I will be explaining now. You know, you can see the picture clearly, and I'll be explaining each and every, you can say, expression explained by the author. Okay. So now let's start reading from our book. Fine. You have seen this short clipping showing the narrator himself is narrating the story of his experience of that long voyage and how they make it till last. Fine. So in between, I will be showing you these small clippings. So let's start with in July 1976, my wife Mary, son Jonathan 6, daughter Suzanne 7, and I set sail from Plymouth. Underline set sail. I'll be making you underline a few words and meaning side by side. Set sail means to begin you can say journey. Fine. Set sail means to start the journey. So he's just telling the time, the duration and everything. Facts he has mentioned, you need to remember. July 1976, his wife Mary, son Jonathan and daughter Suzanne, 7-year-old girl, and he himself, they started the journey from Plymouth, England, to duplicate the round-the-world voyage made 200 years earlier by Captain James Cook. I already told you he was inspired by the journey of Captain James Cook. made 200 years ago. So he wanted to duplicate that. He wanted to follow that. You know, following others in a good way is not bad. Otherwise, aping the bad manners, aping the bad habits or hobbies of others, that is bad. If you are following someone for good, that is good for you. So he just wanted to duplicate that voyage made by Captain James Cook. I can ask any one of you in between, so please sit attentively. Fine. For the longest time, Mary and I, a 37-year-old businessman, underline, author, he himself was a businessman, he was 37-year-old. He had dreamt of sailing in the wake of the famous explorer. Explorer is a person who keeps on exploring new places, right? And for the past 16 years, we had spent all our leisure time honing our seafaring skills in British waters. So hailing from that side, he kept on honing. Honing means improving. Note down the meaning of word honing. Honing means improving. So he kept on improving his seafaring skills in those, you can say, 16 years. It's a long span. Our boat, Wave Walker, underline beta. Now the facts about the boat. Our boat, Wave Walker, a 23-meter, you can say a long 30-ton wooden hulled. Hulled here means the bottom part, Hulled. Underline hulled, it means bottom. 30-ton wooden hulled beauty. Beauty, they are calling the Wave Walker itself. Fine, they are calling this, you can say, boat a beauty. You can say this pole. This is called the mast of the ship. Fine. You can say the pole standing here. We'll be seeing the image of this also. I'll be making you understand various parts also. Clear? That we'll do later on. Firstly, let's continue. Had been professionally built, and we had spent months fitting it out and testing it in the roughest weather we could find. So even after building this beautiful Wave Walker boat, they tested it in the roughest weather, that whether they will be able to survive if in case of emergency. They tried it, they tested it. Fine. Then the first leg of our planned 3-year, 105,000 kilometers journey passed pleasantly as we sailed down the west coast of Africa to Cape Town. Underline, the first leg of their journey was from west coast of Africa to Cape Town. So that was a pleasant journey. First year, they did not face much problem. They sailed it smoothly, fine, with the way they have planned everything. But after, changing, the side there, before heading east side, we took on 2 crewmen. Now the entry of these crewmen, beta, Larry Vigil, he's an American, and Herb Siegler, Swiss, native of Switzerland. So an American and a person from Switzerland both joined because they were having, experience, again, you can say, you can say, going into the boats and setting the sails. So they thought we should have some help with us because we are going to enter into the place where it is difficult to move on. So to tackle one of the roughest seas, they needed help. So they joined, they asked Larry and Siegler to join them. So in the Southern Indian Ocean, underline, where did they join? For the Southern, it's not Southern. The pronunciation is Southern, Southren, fine? Southern Indian Ocean. Coming on to page number 14, you are having your books with you. That's why I am just not sharing the screen. If you need to, you can ask me. Everybody is having the book? Anybody without book? Then let me know, because you can see a note down in your book itself. When I share screen, you keep looking at the screen only. Why I'm doing this? By doing this, your screen time will be lesser better. Otherwise, for the whole day, you are glued to screens and you're not looking at your books even. Clear? So today I won't be sharing screen because I need to show you the videos in between. Clear? So page number 14, I'll be explaining that much, and then again, I'll be showing you one video. On our second day out of Cape Town, now they started their journey from that side and to out of Cape Town, we began to encounter strong gales. Now underline the word gales, beta, G-A-L-E-S. Gales are the strong winds. We'll be using this, vocabulary which is used by these people who go on sea voyage. Clear? Strong winds. So strong gales were blowing for the next few weeks. They blew continuously. Gales did not worry me, but the size of the waves was alarming. So why author was worried? He was worried not because of these gales and winds. He was worried because of the huge size that was quite alarming, up to 15 meters, as high as our main mast. So this is the main mast, as you can see in this picture. This is the main mast. Fine. So they were having huge waves up to this level. So you can very well imagine why he was scared, that they can drown at any time into the sea. So now next beta data is coming for the December 25 Christmas celebration is coming. It's up to us whether we are in difficult situation, we want to relish each and every moment, or we want to ruin our life. So he was having, Christmas is very important festival for all the people around the world, especially in foreign countries. You have seen the way we people celebrate Diwali. The people are crazy about celebrating Christmas. So they were facing roughest weather, but they decided not to give up. They enjoyed their Christmas on 25th of December. They found us 3,500 kilometers east of Cape Town. They have reached now, despite atrocious weather. Now, underline the word atrocious. Atrocious is very bad, right? Very bad weather. Clear? Atrocious. We had a wonderful holiday complete with a Christmas tree. New Year's Day saw no improvement in the weather. So they had set up one Christmas tree, they enjoyed their meal, wished each and everyone Merry Christmas, and then came the New Year. But even then there was no improvement in the weather. But we reasoned that it had to change soon, and it did change. They thought that soon there will be change, soon there will be change. Yes, there was a change, but the change was not at all good. It was a bad change. Right? What was the change? At dawn, D-A-W-N. Underline the word dawn. It's not down. Keep reading carefully. D-A-W-N is early morning period. Fine. After 2, 3 a.m. Then it's 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Then we say dawn. Fine. At dawn on January 2nd. Remember this date. Double underline it, beta. Because this date is going to change, is going to bring a great change into their lives. The waves were gigantic. Gigantic means huge. We were sailing with only a small storm jib and were still making 8 knots. Underline the word knots. Knots here means it is a measuring unit, beta. The way you have kilometers and all, the way measuring unit of wind, how do you measure it? Knots. So storm jib is a small sail that here you have this, here some part is there, jibs are attached and mast is there. We will be doing the parts of the ship and boat also. Clear? So tomorrow join Valentine. You can miss much important information. Clear? So they were having a small storm jib and were still making 8 knots. As the ship rose to the top of each wave, we could see endless, enormous sea rolling towards us. Enormous is big, huge. When their boat was, riding over the huge waves, they could see that alarming situation. They were seeing in front of huge waves that they are going to drown and all. So they were quite scared at that time. And the screaming of the wind could be heard very loudly. Their ears started hurting. The screaming of the, you can say, sound was quite huge. To slow the boat down, we dropped the storm jib and lashed a heavy mooring rope in a loop across the stern. Now, this is the vocabulary which you need to be, understood here. So, what is mooring rope? Mooring rope is the rope which is used to stabilize that vehicle. You can say that boat. Fine. So, water vehicles just come kya dete hain. So this mooring rope is used to make them stabilize. So they started tightening that mooring rope around it. They double lashed everything. They tried to cover up everything in a loop across the stern. Fine. Stern is also the hind part of the ship, you can say. Then we double-edged everything, went through our life raft drill. They started doing the practice now that at any time they need to jump in the waters of the sea. At any time, anything can happen. Fine. So they started doing drilling. They attached their lifelines. They just started using the oils on their bodies, and they started wearing their life jackets, and they waited. It means they could understand now by this time that they need to practice harder. The toughest time is in front of them. Now the what next is they just need to jump into it, and God knows what is going to happen. Clear? So this is the difficult times, and they have accepted. We are still having 5 minutes. I will be sharing screen with you all. We'll be seeing clipping, and then see. Let's continue. From there we left, okay?
The first indication of disaster came at about 6 p.m. with an ominous silence.
Ominous silence means silence that indicates some bad is going to happen.
The wind dropped, and the sky grew dark. Then came a roar and a cloud. But then I realized that it was not a cloud. It was a wave. It appeared vertical and twice the height of other waves. When ship moved up to face the wave, I thought we would ride over it. But then a tremendous explosion shook the deck. Deck is the floor of the boat. A flood of green and white water broke over the ship. My head smashed into the steering wheel. I was sinking below the waves. Now I was not in my boat. I accepted my approaching death. As I was losing consciousness, I was peaceful. But then my head came out of water. I also had lifeline.
Lifeline is a rope used when someone is sinking in water.
Wave walker was turning upside down. The masts were almost horizontal, but then a wave made her upright. I grabbed the guardrails of our boat and waved into Wave Walker. The continuous waves tossed me on the deck like a rag doll. My left ribs cracked, and my mouth was filled with blood and broken teeth. You can imagine what I was feeling that time. Somehow, I found the wheel, crossed the wave, and hung on. There was water everywhere. I knew that there was water in starboard and other cabins, but I couldn't leave a wheel to go there. Suddenly, the front hatch opened, and my wife Mary appeared.
We're sinking. The decks are smashed. Water is filling the boat.
The deck floor was smashed and water was filling up.
Take the wheel.
He ran to the hatch.
Larry and her, the two crewmates, were pumping out water through hand pumps like madmen. I half swam and half crawled into the children's cabin. John and Sue, are you all right?
Yes,
But my head hurts a bit.
Sue had a big bump above her eyes, but I had no time to worry about bumped heads. After finding some screws, canvas, and a hammer, I ran back to the deck.
Starboard. Right side of the boat.
The starboard was smashed open, and we were getting water with each wave. If I could not make some repairs, we would surely sink. I managed to stretch the canvas and secure waterproof covers across the holes. Some water continued to enter, but most of it was deflected. After some time, our hand pumps began to block because of the debris that came with water and waves.
Debris is the residue of unclean water, including rocks, garbage, etc.
The electric pump was short-circuited. The water level rose threateningly. Then I remembered. We had another electric pump under the chart room floor. I connected it in a pipe and was thankful that it worked. The night was a cold routine of pumping, steering, and working the radio. They were getting no replies of Mayday calls. What are Mayday calls? Maydays is a distress signal that is used when there is a danger to life. It's usually used in ships and airplanes. It's just like SOS, which is an emergency signal in telephone. Actually, Maydays is taken from a French word, Maydays, which means help me. They were no getting answers to their Mayday calls, which is not surprising in this remote corner of the world. Sue's head was now swollen alarmingly. She had 2 large black eyes, and now she had a cut on her arm. Why didn't you tell me before?
I didn't want to worry you when you were trying to save us all.
By morning, on the 3rd of January, the water level was sufficient.
So beta, we have, seen this video so far. Page 15 is there. You can see this page 15 till this, they have just marked one part. Fine, so we have seen this video so far that how hard they have been trying. The details we'll be reading tomorrow because we're not left with time. The time is over. So I hope you enjoyed this chapter.